Hello, church. We're looking at Mark chapters 11 and 12 today for our daily Bible reading. Here, once again, we are into the final week in the life of Jesus. Chapter 11 starts off with the triumphal entry, or we call it Palm Sunday, where Jesus enters into Jerusalem to praise, to shout, to worship. By some. Others aren't too happy that Jesus is there, and so there's a little back and forth. Then Jesus goes into the temple and sees that this temple is being used in inappropriate ways, that people are there to make a profit rather than to be a blessing. And he does this amazing thing. He refers to the temple as my house. Once again, this is something that is where Jesus is clearly making himself to be God yet fully man, to refer to the temple in Jerusalem as his house, my house. And so since it's his house, it's his rules. And so if these people are violating these rules, they need to be punished. And so he overturns the tables and causes a scene. Later on, we read that Jesus is then questioned by the ruling authority, by the Pharisees and scribes, to how should they pay taxes, right? That should Jesus' disciples render to Caesar things that are Caesar's, right? This is one of Jesus' famous lines. So Jesus says, yes, render to Caesar things that are Caesar's, but, right, he doesn't just leave it there that we are to pay taxes, but he says, look, render to God the things that are God. So as much as they may think Caesar is a big deal, God is even greater. Let us be mindful of this, right? That God is greater than any government. God is the one who spoke this world into existence. So his worship, his praise has to be focused first, because this is his world, right? And all these things. The final kind of story example in Mark chapter 12 is then about this widow at the temple who gives her last 2 pennies to the worship of the Lord. And so we see this kind of theme throughout these 2 chapters of what is mine? What is God's versus what is yours? And can you make sure you have a proper relationship, that everything you've been given is truly God's? We are just merely his managers. And so if he says this is mine in our lives, he is right. Our time is God's. Our money is God's. Our talents is God's. They're just on loan from him to be used for his purposes. So can we be diligent? Can we be worshipful? Can we be obedient as this widow was, and to give whatever God has given us back in service to him? All right, church, have a great day.